Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. We're the Movie Couple. I'm Dustin.
I'm Wendy.
And here is our non-spoiler review for Enola Holmes. Enola Holmes is directed by Henry Bradbeer and stars Millie Bobby Brown, Henry Cavill, and Sam Claflin. Enola Holmes is based on the novel written by Nancy Springer and tells the story of the little baby sister of Sherlock and Mycroft while she's off on an adventure trying to find her mom. When I first saw the trailer for this movie, I had this very kind of fun, cute, young girl on an adventure kind of story coming. I really liked the trailer. I thought it was a lot of fun. I did have a few concerns, though, on whether or not how much of a modern twist they were going to put on a classic story like Sherlock Holmes, and whether or not they can kind of get the two to fit. So I was excited and nervous at the same time.
I like the trailer as well, and I really enjoy Millie Bobby Brown as an actress. And mostly, we have seen her most famously for Stranger Things, in her portrayal of 11, and then later on in the Godzilla movie. But this was something that we hadn't quite see her do in a form of a movie quite yet.
Yeah.
And I was really excited for her to take on this role, this young girl. You know, she's a Holmes. Her brothers are Mycroft and Sherlock. So I feel like this was going to be an interesting, because I really didn't actually know about the younger sister until I saw the trailer. I didn't know about the novel until this trailer came about. So I was really, really excited for this. And once the film started, I thought, oh my gosh, this is so my jam. It's the aesthetic and the type of storyline and sort of there's this happy, upbeat vibe to it that I really, really enjoyed, in sort of the theme that's set a little bit heavy, where her mom disappears on her 16th birthday and she has to go and look for her, and as she goes on adventure she meets a boy, and then there's a reason, and I like that they gave her a reason why she met the boy. It wasn't just to meet a boy.
Yes.
That was the most concerning part for me, where I was really into the story of Enola Holmes, but I didn't necessarily need to see Enola Holmes meeting a boy, and if it was a part of a larger story, great, which it actually was. So I'm really happy about how they handled that.
I like how they actually shoehorned that in to the story that they were going to have. That it actually ends up being one of the big mysteries kind of thing of the movie, that she gets to kind of be able to pick apart and find all the clues and prove that, yeah, she really is a Holmes. And Millie Bobby Brown pulled off this character very well. Kind of had that socially awkward, doesn't quite fit into society. I did really like the breaking of the fourth wall for her, because it fit her character very well, showed that she was a little neurotic. But I have to admit, when I saw the trailer and even when I watched the movie, I had a little bit of a when it came to the casting of Sherlock Holmes. Because even though Henry Cavill does do a good job, I just can't not see Henry Cavill. His voice sounds great. However, when you look at him, it just doesn't. No matter how they dressed him.
You just saw Superman?
I just saw not the fact that I just saw Superman, but more along the lines of I did not see the embodiment of what I thought Sherlock Holmes should be. You know, in the novels, Sherlock Holmes is a crack. He's an addict. He has cocaine problems, and he has other quirks. And I'm not saying that he's not supposed to be attractive, but Henry Cavill is a different level of attractive, to where, even straight men are going, damn, that's an attractive man.
Very attractive
kind
man.
of a thing. But, Sherlock Holmes isn't quite supposed to be that. He's supposed to have a little bit of a standoffish kind of personality. He's supposed to actually turn people off a little bit once you have a conversation with him. But Henry Cavill pulled off this soothing, deep voice that was just, it kind of rumbled your senses just a little bit, kind of a thing. And I found it to be a little not Sherlock Holmes, or the Sherlock Holmes that I am used to. That doesn't mean it was bad. It just means it really wasn't what I thought the character should be, even though he brought his own to the character. However, Sam Claflin
Wow.
did a really good Mycroft. I have to admit, I thought that kind of fit into what Mycroft's character is, even though I think he pulled the writing was a little too Mycroft was a little too, like, not evil in it as
Villainous?
villainous kind of character.
Well, I think the reason that they did that to have sort of almost polar opposites in each of the brothers. Sherlock
Yes.
being somehow the warm and comforting kind when he would have his private conversations with Enola, and Mycroft was definitely the off to finishing school you go, sort
I
of.
wash my hands of you.
Yeah, sort of a more colder personality. I think that was particularly, it worked for me in, it wouldn't have worked in any other Sherlock centric film, but this isn't a Sherlock centric film. This is an this is an Enola film. Enola. Let's say that 10 times fast.
It is an unusual name.
So I feel that in order for her to have a really well-rounded story for Enola, and to obviously bringing in the brothers because they're famous, I think this really laid the groundwork for her to have a conflict with one side of the brothers, and have the other sort of be the unexpected comforting side, because he's this now famous detective. So why would he care? And you've forgotten all about me. You never write. You never this and that. A lot of the emotional came out, and I felt like it fit more for the Henry Cavill version of Sherlock to play that, as opposed to Mike, because just Mycroft would have never done that anyways.
Yeah.
So, but I really, really did enjoy Sam Claflin's version of Mycroft. I enjoyed this because I hated it. I was like, ugh, I don't like him. And I was like, yes, he didn't even look like Sam for the most part up until he went into the barber shop. And that's not a spoiler of any kind. That's just a scene that they had, that he was, a setting that they had.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I finally actually saw and recognized, I knew it was Sam Claflin, but when I actually saw him, and I was like, hey, there's that face that I know.
Is.
But for the most part, he really disappeared behind that role, and I really enjoyed it. And I feel like the best part about watching this movie is watching how much fun Millie Bobby Brown had with this role. She carried the film. She shared a lot of scenes with, obviously, Mycroft Sherlock and her mom, Eudoria, I think?
Mm-hmm.
Helena Bonham Carter. So there was a lot of those, but for the most part, she was on her own solving mysteries, and it showed off her skills as a young detective, the art of deduction. And my favorite part of any sort of Sherlock Holmes-centric thing is looking for clues, the ciphering, the solving of puzzles, and this movie was filled with that, and sort of this, because it was geared towards, like the young adults audience.
Yeah.
I mean, I ate it right up. I had so much fun with this movie.
Me too. The moments where she's trying to figure things out, following clues, doing her deductive reasoning, trying to find out what exactly is going on, figuring different little twists and turns, I thought was done very well in this movie. However, there were some things that I thought weren't done so well, storytelling-wise, and that was pretty much any moments with the big bad that was chasing them.
Oh,
a lot of, I personally think, the fight scene.
Yeah, okay. Sorry, I won't say too much.
There are some fight scenes, there are some action scenes, but there are those moments that I'm kind of like, this is just happening so the heroes have a chance to escape, kind of thing. Or it's set up they're choreographing it this way so that this can end up happening. Mm-hmm. And there's like a couple moments where like the bad guy is holding them over a cliff, kind of thing, and he holds them there for like 20 minutes. And I'm like, well, no, if this was a real bad guy, he'd grab you and just throw you out and you'd be dead.
But it's YA, and to build suspense. True. And that's why it worked. And for me.
That is, for me, it kind of took me out of it a little bit. But yes, it is more of a YA story. And so I gave it a little bit of leniency on those parts, and plus everything else, the banter between Enola and the young gentleman, the young lord, her talking to breaking the fourth wall, I think was incredibly cute and endearing, and they did a really good job in making Enola Holmes very endearing, very likable, and you just kind of wanted to hang out with her while she was solving crimes.
Almost to the point, honestly, if they made this into a mini series, I wouldn't be mad at it at all.
Yeah,
I would actually watch it because the story is intriguing, and I don't know for the novel, if it's just one novel or she has, several books. So I'll kind of look into that. But I enjoyed this iteration of it, the more kind of happy, upbeat. The movie, for the first part, like the first act, I would say it's establishing the characters, start, laying in the groundwork for where the story would go. And the second and third act, specifically the second half of the second act, it actually took a little bit of a darker turn, a lot darker than I expected, where I was almost taken aback. It felt like it was a different movie, but it totally worked. I feel like for a girl like Enola Holmes, who, when you go chasing for things people don't want you to find, they're gonna want to maybe get rid of you, so you don't find what you're digging for, or if you do find it, they want to make sure you are silenced. So I like that part of it played in, even though she's young, it played into it, and they didn't go too far away from that. They didn't kid glove that part of it.
Yeah, and honestly, that's what keeps it still fun to watch, is the fact that it does go a little dark in some places. Overall, I actually have to admit, I enjoyed myself watching this. I do feel like there were some spots in the storytelling and in the action scenes that were a little cliche, but this is also a young audience's story. So I think for them, this is actually going to tell a really fun story. And I enjoyed myself watching this. So overall, I'm going to give this a stream it.
Oh, okay.
Because I enjoyed it. I think this is actually a really good place for a movie like Enola Holmes. And it's definitely fun to sit down and watch.
And if you're ever curious about our movie rating chart, it is just listed in the description below. Then it's a little different, but go ahead and check it out. It will make sense, hopefully, when you look at it. For me, and I know we're sort of at home these days, we're not going to the theaters. This was obviously on Netflix, so it wouldn't have gone to theaters anyway, but we still kind of like to rate it via a theater-going experience. So my rating for this is matinee it. I would have had a lot of fun sitting in theaters with a bit of popcorn and some soda and some red vines and just enjoying this movie. Yeah, it's very cute. And there you have it. That is our non-spoiler thoughts on Enola Holmes, which is now streaming on Netflix. Let us know if you got to see the movie, which is your favorite part of the film, sans spoilers, if you will. And what's another good question we can ask them?
What are some of your favorite Sherlock shows? I mean, because there's tons of them out there. Robert Downey Jr., Sherlock on TV. So many different.
Johnny Lee Miller one is really good. Elementary is good.
Elementary is really good. I mean, there's just a ton of different Sherlock's iteration. Which one is your favorite? Comment below. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next video.
Bye.